Welcome to An Organized Mind. I'm your host, Linda Clevenger, and we're continuing our entrepreneur series. I'd like to introduce you to Paul Gustavson today. Paul is the Chief Technical Officer at a company called SimVentions, located right here in Fredericksburg. Thanks for joining us, Paul.
Great to be here, Linda. Great to be with everybody out there, and excited.
So I was really intrigued when I found out about SimVentions and what you do, because when we think of Fredericksburg and entrepreneurship, we don't necessarily think of technology. We think technology being, about 50 miles up the road in DC or Northern Virginia. But SimVentions is a technology company located right in Fredericksburg, and you're one of the co-founders, right?
Yes. So myself and two others, back in 1999, we started kicking the idea around, and then when 2000 came along, after we survived Y2K, we decided, hey, it's time, let's do it.
That was your key to know it was okay to go ahead and start this company.
We had to make sure we got through Y2K, but then it was safe.
Oh, good, good. And being a co-founder of a company, you're a medium-sized company, right? And what does that mean?
Well, it depends upon who you ask, right? So there are companies that are medium-sized here in Virginia that are still small business, and we're a small business. However, when you evaluate it in the state, we're over 100 employees, just over 150 employees, and so therefore the Chamber of Commerce here in the state, they'll evaluate us at about a medium-sized company, and then if you go beyond 500, then you're a large-sized company.
And one of the reasons I wanted SimVentions to be part of our part of the show today is because of your vision. Your SimVentions has a vision that you strongly advocate. It's on your website. It's, I think, with every person that's involved in your company. Can you share a little bit about the vision? Because that's what entrepreneurship is. It's a variety of topics, right? And
Sure.
And you set yourself apart that way, or SimVentions sets themselves apart that way.
Yeah, I think when it comes to vision, I think vision is important. What the good book says, where there's no vision, the people will perish. So it's important to have that vision. For us, the dream was part of that vision. So we had this idea of starting a company. In fact, individually, all three of us, independently, wanted to start a business.
So it's really a culmination of three different ideas that came together?
Well, what happened was we all wanted to start a business. And we just kind of secretly kept it to ourselves. And then we paired up. We were doing some work together on some technical stuff, cool things. I thought, what, we could do this. We can launch a business. And we realized that we all had this dream of a vision, or this vision of a business. And it was important for us to really kind of carve that out. So what we did is we went to the library and we reserved some rooms. They have rooms there that are available, and we did whiteboard sessions. We took pictures of it. So somewhere there's an archive of just this great artwork. Not really, it's not that great. But it was a lot of good stuff.
But it's important information.
Yeah. So we drew this picture, actually. It was a sun that was really rising. And in this scene, we put all the things that we felt like we could accomplish, that we could do as part of our strengths. So it was important for us to understand what our strengths were, understand what our passions were, whatever we want to do. And really, speaking of that vision, part of that is just a center on biblical principles in terms of how we run our business. We thought, this is important. If we're going to do this right, let's do this right. Let's use some biblical principles to do it. And that's been real powerful.
And, I love that. I think that's a missing piece that entrepreneurs have, is taking that idea and actually getting it out of your head. Because the show is an organized mind. You have to get it out of this, what's going on up here, put it on paper, put it on a whiteboard, and definitely take a picture of it so you have it for later, because the whiteboard's not going to last forever. Or it may, but it's going to be permanent.
It's crazy, because back then we didn't have iPhones, so we didn't have these.
Oh, geez.
We didn't have cameras on our phones, so we were, trying to find any camera we could to take these pictures. They're not the greatest pictures, but they're there. What's really neat, if you're an entrepreneur now, you have a wonderful opportunity. You've got that gadget in your pocket, and it's got more power than you can shake a stick at. And I highly encourage you. We did some napkin drawings too.
I've heard lots of companies have started on napkins.
Yeah, they don't translate as well as the whiteboard. So.
Yeah, you can't erase and they're limited.
Yeah.
Right? I imagine your whiteboard was really big.
It was as big as we could find it in the library that we're at. So, but what was cool is that when one person draws an idea down and they're engaging with everybody in the room, then somebody else can step up and say, hey, wait a minute, let's think about this. And there were a lot of things that we put on that whiteboard, and then a lot that we scratched out and said, you know what? If we try to do all these things, we're not going to do it. We need to be focused. We need to be focused. So your vision, if you have a vision, you got to have a vision. Make sure your vision has some focus to it, or else everything looks golden, everything looks awesome, and you're not going to hit it. So there's a few things that we try to go after that we realize, you know what, this isn't for us. But at least we put ourselves on a vector to what we needed to be able to grow.
So every entrepreneur needs to have a focus, a vision first.
Yes.
Then you take that vision and turn it into a focus.
Yes.
And write it down, get it on a board.
Yes.
And then how did you translate those ideas?
Well, you have to, it's important to have a working memory, right? So I love how Dr. Henry Cloud talks about 3 things in terms of your boundaries with what you do. You attend to what matters, you inhibit what doesn't, and then you keep a working memory of what, so your vision statement, the focus areas, your strengths, your customers, the relationships you're trying to build. So you maintain that focus. So those are the 3 things. So once we figured out what we wanted to do, then we were trying to get work. Now that's hard.
Yeah.
So
because you have to prove yourself.
Yes.
And people want, especially in our area, they want that.
Yeah. And we had our doubts. I'll tell you what, we had our doubts.
But you had your faith.
We had our faith, and we asked, why not us? I mean, we had people say, are you really going to start a business in this economy now? I mean,
the economy wasn't that great.
It wasn't, and they always say that. It's not a good time to start a business. Well, when is a good time?
Well, that's a good point.
When is a good time? Here's a kind of a similar story, and it impacted us in a big way. We went back, and we all of us had a memory of the 1980 Winter Olympic hockey team. Do you remember that?
I think so.
Yeah. Now, of course, we were just little lads at the time, but the U.S. team was not supposed to win that gold medal in the 1980 Olympics. They weren't supposed to be there. And many of the players asked the same question. Hey, we're not supposed to be there. The media asked the same question. Are you really? You're not supposed to be here. You're not going to win this thing. And so, but they stuck it in there, and their coach, Herb Brooks, he said something to him that really impacted him. He says, gentlemen, you were meant to be here. You were meant to play. You were born to be a player.
And your company was born to...
So we realized, we have what it takes.
Yeah.
And we just pursued it, and so far it's worked out pretty well.
Great. Well, this is good stuff because I love your philosophy. So let's stay tuned because we'll be right back. We have lots more to share.